I'm 28 years old, and I grew up without a place to truly call home. I moved from one foster family to another, each one ending the same way. They gave up on me. By the time I turned 8, I had already learned one painful truth. No matter how hard I tried, I was always temporary. Until the day I was sent to another orphanage, the place where everything changed. That's where I met Noah. He was 9 years old, quiet, observant, and always alone. Noah used a wheelchair because of a spinal condition he was born with. Most kids didn't know how to talk to him, so they didn't try. But I did. I sat beside him one afternoon, and that simple moment turned into something neither of us expected, a friendship that would change our lives forever. We became inseparable. While the world overlooked us, we found comfort in each other. Noah was brilliant, the kind of person who could make you laugh without even trying. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. Years passed, but one thing never changed. No one ever came to adopt us. So we made a silent promise. If no one chose us, we would choose each other. We aged out of the system together, stepping into a world that owed us nothing. Life wasn't easy. We worked part-time jobs, struggled through college, and lived in a tiny apartment filled with secondhand furniture. But somehow, it felt like home, because we had each other. And somewhere along the way, friendship turned into love. One evening after everything we had been through, Noah looked at me differently. There was something in his eye, something deeper. And then he asked me the question I never thought I'd hear in my life. Will you marry me? And without hesitation, I said yes. Our wedding wasn't grand. No luxury venue, no large crowd, just a few close friends and two people who had built a life from nothing. To anyone else, it might have seemed simple, but to me, it was everything. For the first time in my life, I felt chosen. The morning after our wedding, everything changed. A sharp knock echoed through our apartment. Noah was still asleep. I remember hesitating. Something didn't feel right, but I opened the door anyway. And that's when I saw him, a man I had never seen before, standing there like he had been waiting for this moment. He looked calm, but there was something heavy in his eyes. Good morning, he said. I know we haven't met, but I've been trying to find your husband for a long time. My heart began to race. Before I could say anything, he handed me an envelope. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. There's something you don't know about him. Read this, and everything will make sense. I stood there, frozen. The envelope felt heavier than it should have. Behind me, Noah was still sleeping, peaceful, unaware. And in my hands was something that could change everything. Do I open it and risk destroying the life we just began? Or do I pretend nothing happened and protect the only happiness I've ever known? I took a deep breath, looked back at Noah, then down at the envelope. And in that moment, I realized some secrets don't stay buried forever, and this one was about to find its way out. My hands trembled as I stared at the envelope. For a moment, I almost didn't open it, but something deep inside me whispered, "You need to know the truth." I slid my finger under the seal and slowly pulled it open. Inside was a letter and a photograph. The first thing I looked at was the photo. It showed Noah, standing, not in a wheelchair, but standing. My breath caught in my throat. The photo looked recent. He looked older, stronger, different, but it was him. It was definitely him. And beside him stood the same man who had just knocked on my door. My mind raced. The photo, the man at the door, the letter. None of it made sense, but all of it felt real. I turned slowly and looked toward the bedroom. Noah was still there, sleeping peacefully, the same man I had loved my whole life. Or was he? I walked back into the apartment, each step heavier than the last, the envelope still clutched in my hand, my heart pounding so loud I was sure it would wake him. I stood at the doorway, watching him sleep, and for the first time, I felt afraid. As if sensing me, Noah stirred. His eyes slowly opened and met mine. He smiled softly. "Hey, you're up early," he said. But then he noticed my face and the envelope in my hand. The smile faded. My voice shook as I spoke. "Noah." I swallowed hard. "Is that even your name?" Silence filled the room. Heavy, unavoidable. And in that moment, everything changed. Noah stared at me, then at the envelope. And for the first time since I'd known him, I saw something in his eyes. Not warmth, not comfort, but fear. And then he said, "Where did you get that?"